That's cool. That's cool. Let me get my water.
And it looks like it went live already.
Yeah, I see it says live, so I don't know.
And it looks like it went live already.
Yeah, I see it says live, so I don't know.
So y'all gotta bear with me. I'm still learning.
It looks like it went live already. Yeah, I see it says live, so I don't know.
So y'all gotta bear with me. I'm still learning.
Looks like went live already. Yeah, I see it says live, so I don't know.
So y'all gotta bear with me. I'm still learning.
Looks like went live already. Yeah, I see it says live, so I don't know.
Okay.
So y'all gotta bear with me. I'm still learning. Looks like
Okay, we are ready. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I am actually going to let our amazing guest today introduce herself. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing first and go over who we are. I am Keisha with Keto Coaching with Keisha. Before we proceed any forward, if you would, please hit that subscribe button so the next time we have good information coming along, you will be actually one of the first people to hear about it. So we today, or I'll tell you how these sessions came about. We wanted to make sure that we were doing everything possible in order to make it easier for you guys to have keto as a lifestyle, that it just wouldn't be a fad diet that you were doing, that this was something that you could actually make your lifestyle and actually, join your family members in. So when we got to thinking about it, the major part of that wasn't in what we were eating. It was in everything that was surrounding us with all these different environmental things, family, social events, outings, and things like that. So how do we prepare ourselves mentally for this lifestyle? So we started doing these sessions every Wednesday at noon so that we can talk about these things and teach you how to actually make it easier for you to make this a lifestyle change. So we got actually feedback from the group to let us know some things that they were struggling with. So the issue of phantom fat came along. And so I'll explain it in layman terms, and then I'll let Ms. Jefferson give you the clinical definition of what it is. Phantom fat is when you've lost a lot of weight and now all of a sudden I don't see any changes. Every time I look in the mirror, I still see my former self. So I don't think that I've made any progress. My mind can't comprehend any progress. It still sees that person that I was before. And that can happen even when you've lost a major amount of weight. We still see that former person. So I titled this, I've lost weight, but I'm still fat. Because that's what we say to ourselves. I'm just being honest. Y'all know I don't sugarcoat anything. And I've said those exact same things to myself. And I've had to say, wait a minute, based on your clothing size, this really just cannot be the case. So we wanted to have an open discussion to get today. So we'll let Ms. Jefferson tell you who she is, her background, and all those things. And we'll, in the end, I'll actually have her information in the description section. So if you need to get in contact with her one-on-one and schedule some sessions, then you can very well do that, because we know that we need help sometimes when it comes to struggling with these things, and we don't have to do it alone. There are professionals out there who have went to school, who have studied, and who have experience in these things. So we want to make sure you guys have these outlets for help when you need them. So I'm going to let Ms. Jefferson introduce herself, tell you what she does, where she's located, and also give us the clinical definition of phantom fat.
All right. Well, I do want to start off by saying thanks, Keisha, for having me. I am a part of the Keto family, so I'm obsessed with everything that you are doing. And I also want to say thank you for the changes that you've been making in the community as far as weight loss, because we know that obesity is definitely a problem in America, and it does affect us from generation to generation. So kudos to you for that. You've helped a lot of people. So that's amazing. Keep up the work. So again, I'm LaNita Jefferson. I'm a licensed professional counselor here in Columbia, South Carolina. I co-own Carolina Assessment Services. We are located downtown off of Bellevue Street, which is off of Main Street. If anybody knows where, and this is probably not the best way to identify it with the marker, but if you know where Sweet Temptations is, yeah, we're like right behind it. Like, yeah, so you
we remember.
I have not been there, but it's tempting because I have to pass it every day. So I'm right by Sweet Temptations and Curiosity Coffee Bar, if you know where that is. So I've been in mental health for, let's see, 10 years. I've been practicing for a little over 5 years, and I've been licensed fully for a little over 2 years. So here at Carolina Assessment Services, we see a variety of individuals. Our focus is on trauma, because what we have learned is that trauma, of course, affects the brain, which affects us mentally and physically.
Right.
And we know that trauma takes different forms. It can come from weight loss. It can come from sexual, physical, emotional abuse. It looks like depression, anxiety. I mean, I can go on for days and days. So we do work with trauma. However, we often get individuals who come in who are either preparing for bariatric surgery, which if you've been down that road, you know that you do have to get a psychological evaluation. Sometimes they ask you to do some mental health sessions just to make sure you're going to be ready for these changes that your body is going to go through, and go through quickly. And you know, usually when you're going through bariatric surgery, you get excited about that part. Like, hey, I'm gonna be this totally new person. I mean, my jawline's gonna look good. I'm gonna be able to fit those jeans that I haven't fit in years, or I'm gonna be able to fit those jeans for the first time. Like, we get really excited about this outcome of weight loss. And we don't realize the mental side of it. Like, you really have to be prepared. And if you haven't been down that process, or you don't know that process, you're probably thinking, well, you know, why? Like, you know, it should just be a quick fix. Like, okay, I lose weight, I feel good, I feel attractive. You know, but the bottom line is that we have these images that are embedded in our brain from how we've been looking. And usually if you're someone who has been overweight or heavier than what you're used to, you know the negative parts of the negative thinking parts of being heavy. Oh, I'm fat, I need to lose weight. You know, you do those yo-yo diets for years.
Right.
I mean, I can go on and on about the negative things that we say about ourselves. We're mean to ourselves. We really are. And society makes us mean too, you know. They expect us to look a certain way.
Yep.
And so when we don't, we really try very hard to fit what society expects from us as far as, you know, weight, the way we look, our hair, and especially more for women. I mean, we really do have it hard when it comes to image. And it's really tough on the brain. And I don't think we realize that. So yeah, so we get those clients who are preparing for bariatric, and we also get the clients that have had bariatric surgery, or who have had success with some kind of diet or lifestyle change,
Right.
and they've lost a lot of weight. All right. So we get that individual who's lost a lot of weight, and they'll call us and they'll just say, you know, I lost weight. I thought that I was going to feel accepted or pretty, but I'm really sad. I'm really down, and I can't even look at myself in the mirror. Or when I do, I still see this fat person or this heavy person. So we call that phantom fat.
Phantom fat.
And it is exactly what it is, phantom fat. So it's when you lost a significant amount of weight and you still feel fat, or you feel like your body is still unacceptable. Okay,
Right.
so that's pretty much the definition of it. So when the thing that's happening is when you're looking in the mirror, or whatever have you, however you're trying to measure your weight loss. So let's just say looking in the mirror. So when you're looking in the mirror, your brain is so used to those automatic thoughts. We call them NATs, negative automatic thoughts. It's so used to saying, oh, I'm this size 20, and I just I'm fat, and I'm always going to be this person. It really does take time for your brain to catch up, to say, hey, I am not that person I was anymore. I'm now a size 8, and I look, and I look good, and I like the way I feel in my jeans. It takes a while for the brain to click to that. And so that's where we have issues with people feeling anxious or depressed and stressed, which can lead to a whole lot of other issues, which I'm gonna talk about in a little while. Losing weight should definitely be a good thing. Or that's the way we should feel, but you're pretty much mourning the person you were. Your brain is like it's like a stop. Like your brain is just stuck, and you're mourning the person that you were, even though you didn't want to be that person. So you're looking in the mirror and you just have this perception of the person that you were 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds ago, and being able to move past that. Another issue too, when you have lost that weight, but the skin is still there. Okay. So you have the skin and what we call it, flub or flab, whatever you might want to call it. That can affect us too, because sometimes depending on your weight loss, we have to still put that in our clothes. So that might make us feel some type of way. It's not really a trophy per se. Okay, I lost all this weight. Now I got all this extra stuff. What am I going to do? And that can definitely affect your image and the way you look at it too. Like if I'm this size 8, why do I still have the skin of a person who was 20 or 30 pounds lighter? So it's really a lot when it comes to weight loss. And I think that's why we try so hard, and we express mental health maintenance when it comes to weight loss, because you really are a totally different person. You really are. And then the thing is it's so psychological, because when you lose the weight, you change the way you're eating, and you're changing some of the foods that affect the way your brain functions and focuses. So even your brain is rewiring itself to think a different way. Is not just as easy as giving up the McDonald's hamburgers and the sodas and dropping 20 or 30 pounds. It's a lot of different functionings that's happening to your body, and it's really changing you into a different person. It really is. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you? You can jump in at any time. Yeah.
I was gonna say I totally get it, and a lot of times I think we have a misconception of what the journey is going to be like, because our minds tell us, "Hey, I'm gonna lose weight," and our minds say we are gonna look like this picture perfect image of what we have created in our minds. And I'll never forget, this was probably about a year ago, and I was at the office, and I had a young lady came in, and just so happened I was there. This was pre-COVID, so I was at the office a pretty good much. And she came in because she had been out shopping, and she had lost a lot of weight, But because there were some areas that she had that fluff or flab, she was literally in tears.
Mhm.
And I remember, having to calm her down and telling her, it is like losing that picture perfect version of ourselves when we lose weight of what we've created, especially when we've been overweight for a very long time. We create an image in our minds of how we think we'll look when we lose weight. But then when it doesn't look like that, we get so upset. And like I said, she had lost tons of weight.
Yeah.
And, it is that mental side of it that we struggle with so much that, makes us go off. And then when phantom fat is a part of it, we'll actually give up because of what we see in the mirror. Because like you said, our minds don't catch up to that it takes a long time. Like, you guys, I don't know how long it takes because I still struggle with that sometimes. So it takes our mind a long time to catch up with that. And sometimes we'll quit because we don't think we're making any progress, but we clearly have. And I'll tell you two of my stories. One time when talking about the mental side of it, I'll never forget, I had been shopping plus size clothes just about all of my adult life. When I finally got to the point that I could wear a Victoria's Secret bra, I was overwhelmed. I was so happy. Had just gotten me an angel card, and they were having a blowout sale on bras. And I was going in, y'all, like this was the highlight of my week, thinking about going there on that Saturday. So, of course, I go in and I'm looking around, and it was crowded. And I started looking at all of these bras. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know any of these things that fit. I had gotten to the point where the place I was going, I could just order them online. I knew what I wanted. I knew how it fit. That was my comfort zone. I felt so much out of my comfort zone. I even had the lady, she probably could tell I was in distress. She came over, offered to measure me. She measured me, and I'm still looking like, well, I still don't know how these fit. All my excitement had built up for that week. I ended up leaving there without getting anything. And I sat in the car and cried because I was out of my comfort zone. So we get so comfortable with how we were. And y'all know we don't like change as much as we say we like it, and we think that we'll like these moments when we're out of our comfort zones. A lot of times we don't accept it. And another time, I think I was telling this to a class the other week, I'll never forget one day, I just had a fat moment. I felt like I was just extremely overweight, couldn't see any difference. And I'm like, really? And I was coaching people at this point. And I was like, you know what? I don't know. Do I need to fast more? Because I feel just totally fat today. That's what I told myself. And then I literally had to coach myself and said, you have on a size 6 dress. Size 6. That doesn't add up. And I told myself to have several seats, and I did, but it still doesn't mean that those things don't come up in my mind still. And even back then, what I found was I would buy clothes a certain size. They were too big just because my mind hadn't caught up to what size I actually was. And it was my mom who made a comment one day, and I went in her house and she was like, did you wear that to work? Yes, ma'am. Because me, it fit. That was the size I was. And she was like, did people see you at work today? Yes, ma'am. She said, please don't wear that to work anymore. And please go buy some clothes that fit. So like you said, that struggle is real. We have one person who says, I'm down 65 pounds, and I happen to know who this is. Yeah. Great transformation.
Wow.
And she still sees the same person in the mirror. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely a struggle. And I can give you guys a hint on who it is. Every week I post Transformation Tuesday. She always come back with, I'm still transforming.
I think, yeah.
What are some things that we can do to help with this. And like I said, I'm years out, and sometimes I still have issues with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think things like this is good. You're really good about having an open dialogue, and so what people need is a support system. I'm not. Well, let me back up. Yeah, so we need a support system. So the fact that there's a whole community of ketoing with Keisha is good because everybody can feed off of each other. The person who you just talked about, 65 pounds, she might need someone to reach out and say, hey, you know what, you looking real thin today. Sometimes we need those affirmations from other people, which that's where I was on the fence. So it's okay to get affirmations and validations from other people, but the goal is, especially if you come in here for counseling, the goal is for you to rely on your own affirmations and validations at some point. So that's why I was kind of iffy about saying that. But I get it. If you're feeling sad and down, we need people to build us up. So the community that you created, I think, is definitely good. It's a good support system for people. Of course, I'm going to say, talk to a therapist or a counselor, because that'll help you put like a mental health maintenance plan in place. And it'll just provide a place for you just to come and say whatever you want or whatever you need to say. And there's things that we can put in place to force you or guide you into the direction of loving this new person, loving your new normal. And depending on where you are, you might want to lose more weight. And that's, if you don't deal with it now, it's not going to get any better. So we do a lot of cognitive behavior therapy in here when it comes to that, where we get you to rewire and reframe your thought process so that we can kind of eliminate those negative automatic thoughts. And it's not something that you can do overnight. Okay, I don't want you to think that it's easy. It takes time. I struggle with it too. It takes a lot of time to rewire your brain and to be able to say, hey, I'm not fat today. Look at me, I'm not fat today after all of your weight loss. We also do DBT. I forgot what it stands for that fast. Oh, diabolical behavior training, therapy. I forgot that fast. But anyway, so it's something called radical acceptance. And what that says is basically accepting the changes. You're accepting it. I'm accepting the fact that I've lost, and I'm going to use the person who said 65 pounds. So I'm accepting the fact that I've lost 65 pounds. And today I might feel fat, but this is what I'm going to put in place to remind myself of my success. So that's putting on those skinny jeans. That's taking before and after pictures so you can be like, oh, this was me. This is me now. Putting things in place to remind you that, hey, you are not the person that you were. And again, that goes back with recreating these thoughts in your brain so that you can think healthier, for one, and so you can have a healthier version of yourself.
Okay.
When it comes to perception.
That's those are great. Is there a certain point, or are there things that we should look for that we know we're at a very unhealthy place when it comes to this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was going to talk about that a little bit. So let me just jump into it. So some people might say that phantom fat might be a form of body dysmorphic disorder, which is in your DSM-5, which the DSM-5 stands for, I had to write it out, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. And that's what therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, we all use to be able to diagnose individuals. So the thing about that is there's a fine line with it, because we can sit here and have phantom fat, but it doesn't affect our level of functioning, meaning we can still go to work, we can, still be sociable. And if we're in school, we're still good with academics. So that it's not affecting our level of functioning. We can still do our daily responsibilities. When you're fixated on the weight loss and you can't function, you're missing work, you're not going to social events because everybody's going to talk about how fat you are, your grades are failing, you can't take care of the kids, then that's when you should really consider, okay, what's going on with me? I really need to face this. Because what it can do also is it can cause depression. So if you're having problems going to sleep at night because you're thinking about it, having problems staying asleep because you just keep thinking about your fat, you're feeling isolated, crying spells. How often do you cry about it? Those are some of the main signs to look for, and it's a lot more, but those are usually the ones we see a lot. People just are just withdrawing from themselves, and then it's time to say, hey, we need to look at it. But when it comes to body dysmorphic disorder, or we call it BDD, that really does not pertain to weight loss. So when we think, and BDD is more so when you have an obsessive compulsive disorder. So there's a repetitive obsession of what you have going on. And usually with BDD, we see that in people who, so this is my example that I like to use. When we think about people like Little Kim, who that changes their face over and over and over because they're not satisfied with how they look. And usually BDD we see above. It just is, it really doesn't have anything that pertains to weight loss right now. I think that as we look more into phantom fat, maybe as we get more research, we might be able to add it more so in the DSM-5, but it's really a fine line. One of the criteria, the last criteria of BDD does not pertain to weight loss. So, but what that says though is if it is affecting you, we want to look for other eating disorders now, because if you feel like you're still fat after 100 pounds, then we have to worry about, okay, is this person maybe becoming anorexic? Or they could have bulimia, so then we have to look at the eating disorders to make sure that you're not, digressing into another kind of disorder, I guess is the best way to put it.
Wow. That I totally get it. Totally makes sense, because I've actually had to address that before, when I see people who are struggling with this, and what I see, because on keto, we don't have appetites. So it's extremely easy for us to fast.
Right.
So what I start seeing is, them fasting a lot in order to continue to lose weight. And y'all know, I will be like, hey, report to the rocket, because this isn't healthy. So when you see, and they'll know when somebody else sees it, they'll be like, hey, Keisha about to call you to the rocket, because this isn't healthy. But I never associated it with that part of the mental side of it. I see it now, and you're actually explaining it, making it, full circle for me, that it's all coming together. One of the things I often realize, and so people, I'm telling on myself now because they don't even know I look at this. I actually look for these type of things, and I'll start paying more attention to post when I start seeing these things like that, because part of what I do is to make sure you're doing this a healthy way. Mm-hmm. And so when I see people who are struggling with the way they look, and then I see a picture of them, I'm like, wait a minute, you've been complaining all this time, but you look amazing. So I really, really start paying attention to their posts, even on their private pages, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to be able to identify these things that's going on and say, hey, no, this is, it isn't healthy. And so, they might get an inbox from me out of the blue saying that it's not healthy. And one of the things you did mention and bring up, and that I've had to do with a lot of people, and that's the side-by-side pictures, the before and afters, because I'll sit there and I'll see them complaining, and then I'm friends with them on their private page, like, wait a minute, didn't she just post a picture? And so I'll do the side-by-side and send it to them, and they'll be like, you know what, let me shut up, because then they can see. But that was easier to do a while ago. Now I can't get any more friends, so I can't watch y'all like I used to, because I don't have the capacity to add as many friends.
Wow, that's cool though.
Right. So when I could do it more before, I used to do it a lot. And I found myself doing it all the time. And it's because, like you said, our minds don't change the image. And we think that it is so cool, but it's not. You know, when you feel it, it's not all, it doesn't always feel like that. I'll never forget the first time I walked past a mirror and I didn't know that person that I saw. And I was like, had to step back for a minute. You think that it's going to be all this cool and wait a minute, hey. And it wasn't like that. I didn't recognize who I was. So, you know, that was hard.
Yeah.
Somebody says I am the one that hides from the camera. So we have those too, who they don't even want to take pictures. So they can't even do the side by side because their minds they're still stuck where they were. So they won't even take pictures at all to do the side by side. So even though they see the changes on the scale, they see their clothes changing, but they still won't even take a picture to do a side by side.
Yeah. So, you know, it's hard. It's hard for us to look in the mirror. It really is. I think because it really forces us to see that person. And so another thing that we do for those who don't like looking in the mirror, don't like taking pictures, like, can you do it privately? And we have cool things like, you know, there's people out there who make waist beads and things like that. Like those things will help you gauge the difference in what you have going on. It's just our perception. We look at ourselves in the mirror and we might see something that, of course, others might not see or may not even make it noticeable. You know, I think they say like it takes 14 days for other people to notice your weight loss and things like that. So, you know, you might hear people say, hey, you know, look like you lost weight or you lost weight. But if you don't see it for yourself, it really isn't going to mean anything until you work on that self-acceptance and self-love of who you are now. And just knowing that it's a battle. I've been battling weight my whole life. It's a battle. It's one day at a time. It's getting up the next day and remembering what you did the day before. Just keep going and not giving up. And you know, taking your time when it comes to looking in the mirror or putting other things in place to help remind you of where you are and where you're going, is probably the best thing to do.
Wow. You know, even with that being said, when you were to hit a little bit on when you were talking about affirmations from others, I can remember I was so bad with my own self-image and adjusting to it that I found myself not even going around people because I didn't want to even hear the affirmations.
Wow.
You know, right. Because everywhere I went, the discussion was on my body weight. You know what I'm saying? And because my mind hadn't adjusted to that, I was at the point I don't want to hear that. Like seriously. So I would find myself, even after I lost weight, I was still, when we took pictures, I would still hide behind people. You know what I'm saying? And if I went out, especially if I went out with other people, I would purposely wear clothes that were too big so people couldn't see how much weight I had lost because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear the comments. I didn't want to hear the affirmations because my mind hadn't caught up to that. And so, yeah, this is not as easy as people think it is. And you know, these are these things that we have to talk about when we want to make this a lifestyle change, because it's very important, because it will affect how you are, how you maneuver, how you do things, and all of that. This pandemic might be good in that sense, you know what I'm saying? Because we're not being social, so we don't have all of those social activities that focus on that. And so we have a little bit of time to just basically work on us. So this is a great time to actually have this conversation when we're not mingling with a lot of people, where we can focus on making sure we're doing what we need to do mentally in order to prepare ourselves and love ourselves through this process, because that's what it's all about. Even eating correctly is a part of self-love.
Yeah.
So that is it's not as easy as people think it is, because like you said, we are extremely hard on ourselves, way too hard.
Yeah.
Right. We don't give ourselves enough credit for the power and the ability that we have to do things. So I can imagine you have a hard job dealing with people like us.
It's all good. And I think what makes it so different is that, I'm a part of that,
Right.
like I know what it's like. So that helps me to be able to connect with individuals. I think I had my very first client who had phantom fat when I was pregnant and I was super big. And I was like, man, this is going to affect me personally. But it did help put some things in perspective. And I don't know about you, some of us, because of COVID, we've been doing a lot of bad things, a lot of bad eating, and we're gaining our COVID-15. So here it is, like for me, for example, I'm going to have to do a start back. I'm going to have to jump start it. But what I decided to do different this time is I go to a therapist because it has to be something in there that is going to have to help me connect mentally so that I don't make those changes again.
Right.
I don't go that way. So it's like, no, I'm not just going to jump back in and go through Keisha's program without doing therapy together. Okay. Because right. Because this time I want to make sure I'm successful. And for some of us, it's okay. We can do it. We can lose the weight and be fine. But when you have, environmental factors, biological factors, socially, there's other things that you have to deal with first so that you can be successful this time around, or you can learn to accept the changes as they come. And then that just goes to show that, weight loss is so different for everybody. Somebody can lose 10 pounds in a week. Somebody can lose 2. And being okay, going back to that affirmation, you have to have that self-love. You have to be your biggest fan. You can't expect everybody to make you feel good. You have to make yourself feel good because it's your journey. You're the only one going through this. You're the only one losing this weight. You only have one body. So being able to put things in place to help you with your good days, help you with your bad days. And I call bad days my days when I feel real fat. You have to put things in place to remind you of why you're doing this, who you are, and getting ready for the other side. I just don't think that most of us are prepared. And this goes back to what we were saying earlier. We just have this idea of what we want to look like, who we're going to be, the things we're going to buy as far as the new clothes and doing things like being able to go to Victoria's Secret, and then we get to the other side and we're like, okay, wait a minute. My clothes don't fit me anymore. My hair is different. My skin complexion is different. So my makeup doesn't fit anymore. My shoes are different. Right. I might have been able to use Suave before, and now I got to use Dove because your entire body changes with weight loss. And we're not prepared for that other side. It's all different. It is.
This is good stuff. This is good because that is so true. I mean, we are so fixated on the image. And we don't realize that the mental part is the largest part of that, and it isn't easy. A lot of times, and we're in the age of social media. So of course, the only thing you're going to see me post are my best of my best pictures. Anyone,
mine too.
Anyone who is on any type of journey, whether it be weight loss or hair transformation or anything, the only thing you're going to see being posted will be the best of our best. So a lot of times we can make it look really easy, but I can't post or we don't post, me sitting in a car crying because I was out of my comfort zone at Victoria's Secrets. So I think, especially because of the age of social media, a lot of times people make things look extremely easy. But because you don't see what goes on behind the post behind the scenes on that, we fabricate in our minds a story of how we think it's going to be, and without dealing with those mental part of it. So this is actually a great thing because it's hard. I mean, I tell everybody knows my story. I had weight loss surgery first, lost the weight, but then what no one knows is I gained almost every pound back, because that part where I gained the weight back and I started being successful on keto, pictures weren't posted. You guys didn't see that part of it. You know what I'm saying? Or if it was posted, you only saw my face. And if you went back through my timeline, you'll see I was only posting headshots, selfies. And I can guarantee you they were at an angle where, of course, my face looked the slimmest. So that part was never posted. So they only saw, so they thought I went straight from weight loss surgery into keto. And it wasn't like that. That was this huge part where the first part failed and I gained it all back, which was a huge mental part of it, because I had displayed it to the world. You know what I'm saying? That I lost all of this weight. But failure is hard to post. You know what I'm saying? Failure is very hard to post. So I didn't document that. I wish I had now, actually, because I never knew I would end up here. But also what I realized looking back on it now, it was that failure part that led me to where I am now. So I wish I had documented it, but there's a reason why I didn't. So it was a very personal part then. So, you know, we have to deal with this other side of it. And, you know, I always tell everybody, I've done both. I've done keto and I had weight loss surgery. Keto was much easier than the weight loss surgery. And the reason why I say that, and people probably think I'm crazy every time I say that, because the emotional part from the weight loss surgery was far harder than me dealing with it when I was doing keto. And the sad part about it is I lost weight faster on keto than I did weight loss surgery.
Wow. Amazing.
Crazy. Right. But I guess because I was in a different place mentally when I started keto, that I didn't have those same issues as I did before. So let's see. A lot of people think it's just women that struggle with this, but we men struggle with this as well. So we have a young man speaking. They struggle with this too. So
yeah,
that's true. That's true. And, you know, I often talk about in class about men on keto, they lose weight extremely fast. And I always tell them, please, hey, Jamal, I know who it is now. He had his YouTube handle on there. So yeah, he's lost a lot of weight. I can understand why you're saying that. And I usually tell them men feel themselves too, but just as we experience these negative emotions, they do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be on both sides. Men I think they do a better job of saying, you know, being able to move past it faster. Women, I think we just have such a hard time when it comes to weight loss. But yeah, of course, I think anybody who has lost a significant amount of weight is going to have an issue with phantom fat, and it can affect you functionally, or it cannot, or it doesn't have to. So, but that's cool. I'm glad that everybody is sharing. That's awesome.
Okay, do you guys have any questions for LaNita while you're on here? So I'm reading your comments so I can see them basically, so we can address any questions that you have during these last few minutes. Raven says that she's definitely a headshot only kind of girl. Been there.
Yes.
That. So totally understand exactly what you're saying. But LaNita, I really do appreciate you, and these things that you're saying are actually making me think of some things that we could implement to make us, maybe we need to have some love me sessions.
Yeah, some good support groups would be awesome. I was even thinking about starting one here, because the more support we have, when we can collab with people who are going through the same thing or who have been through the same thing, that really does help to give us a different perspective on things.
Well, let us know if you started, because then y'all know my plate is already running over. So if you started, we'll just, if the wheel is already rolling, I'll just roll with that wheel.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it. I just haven't came up with the start date, but I guess I could think about that after we hang up.
Look, and I see some people already saying, yes, they're in. So
because I I have a self-love group that I do. And of course we talk about weight loss because that goes hand in hand.
Right.
So there is a self-love group that I do. And I hadn't done one all summer. But yeah, I'll let you know. We'll get it started. We'll get one going.
So great. And I'm pretty sure we'll have tremendous support from the group, and they're from all over. And that's the other thing, because we actually have a huge demographics in this group. We actually have people in many countries at this point. And one of the other things I tell people, because what we tend to do is, oh, this person lost X amount of weight by this time, and I want to do the same. We don't know these people from Adam. We only see the profile picture. You know what I'm saying? And so again, in this age of social media, and we're like, well, I want what they want, but all of us are different, and there are so many things that we have to deal with. Yeah. And the mental part of it being a large portion of that. So we can't compare, what I'm doing to, or how it affects you. And it took some hard things for me to learn that just because something was easy for me doesn't mean it was easy for all of y'all. Right. Like I said, by the time I started keto, I was at wit's end. I hadn't tried everything it was to try, including the most invasive one, which was bariatric surgery. So for me, keto was going to work, or I was going to drown and continuously go down a different path. So I was at that place mentally when I started. I had to realize that not everyone is there. And also I had to realize that, hey, when I started this, it was just to lose some weight. Mm-hmm. Clearly. Mm-hmm. I didn't get into the largest health parts of it until later on. And so I have to constantly remind myself sometimes that, hey, everybody else who's starting is starting at that same place. They just want to lose weight. Y'all know I still keep pushing the health part of it, because you just do better when you think that way. But I still have to remind myself to kind of not be as hard on those people, because I started out at that same place. Yes, love me sessions. They want those.
Okay, all right.
What can guys do to help with the downside of this issue to uplift our women? Now, that's a great question.
Oh, okay. So what I've learned not to do is to ask my husband, do these jeans make me look fat? Okay. All you can do is just try to support your wife or your significant other the best way you know how. The thing is when people are grieving, because you are grieving the person you are, there's nothing you can say that is gonna be the right thing to say, if that makes sense. So I guess ask them what they need. Do you need me to say positive affirmation? Do you need me to get up and walk with you? Do you need me to help you with meal prepping? Let me sit down and watch these videos that Keisha put up with you. I mean, ask your partner what they want and what they need from you. And hopefully they're able to articulate and tell you what they need during this journey, because it is this journey. My husband and I, we always go back and forth with, I'm just like, okay, this time I need you to stay on me. He's like, no, oh no, I'm not doing it. I'm not telling you to get up and work out, because you be ready to take my head off. And he's right, because, it's so hard to hear from other people. But this time I was just like, let me tell him what I need. Let me tell you what I need. And that way you can walk with me, but let me lead. You see what I'm saying? So I hope that answers his question.
Yeah. And another young man come in and he says, never give up on them and be there positive.
Yeah.
And the other thing we have to realize when we're in relationships, just like we're dealing with the difference in our bodies, our mates are dealing with a totally different person. When you lose a lot of weight, so they fell in love with this person, and I mean, the physical side of it is a huge part. We can say it isn't, but it really is, because that's the person you fell in love with. And when that physical shape changes, they have to deal with that person too. So there are times when you could actually feel like a stranger to them because they're not used to this person. So that's a whole nother different direction, but it's still, an issue. It could be an issue.
Yeah.
So they have to learn to love this new person. You're the same person mentally, but physically you aren't the person that they fell in love with. You are different.
You are. Yep. And that actually would be another good topic to talk about, the physical part. And of course we're talking about sex and confidence and the change in clothes and all of that. Yeah. So that can definitely go down another.
Oh yeah. So LaNita, you can look out. We'll be scheduling that one soon. Because that one would be huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mind is really going with that one. So that one can take us in a lot of different directions. So yeah, we'll definitely add that one on the list because that encompasses so many different things. Let me see if I can get some couples who will join us who have lost the weight and who will be okay with opening up about this discussion because that involves a lot.
Yeah. Yep. It does.
Any other questions? And another young man said also be their example in this. It really helps when we have people around us who are supportive.
Yeah.
Who are supportive and honest with that too. So we need people sometimes, y'all know, sometimes we don't like people to be honest when it comes to weight.
Yeah.
We don't like people to be honest. But it is for the best because y'all know I don't sugarcoat it anymore. But in my position, I can't because I see it as sugarcoating it is too dangerous. So, and that's what y'all don't come to me to have things watered down and sugarcoated.
Right.
You already know. Okay.
What was I gonna say? I think that was it. Yeah. So going back to what you said real quick, and then I'll be quiet. And this is for everybody who's listening and watching. Check on your friend who's lost a lot of weight. If you see some of those symptoms of crying, depression, feeling isolated, not showing up to family events, check on them and make sure they're okay. Because sometimes when it comes to mental health, it can be very isolating, and we don't open up to people. So hit Keisha up, anybody, somebody will be willing to listen. And if not, we're always here.
I've done that too, skipped family events, all because of all of that. Still functioning, but it is a huge mental part. We have one person who says, I have to learn how to accept compliments from my husband. He constantly says that I am looking slim, and my response is always not me.
So that goes back to those affirmations. What do you feel? How do you feel about yourself? And getting up every day, saying something positive. Give yourself the compliments. It is hard to get compliments from other people. I will never understand that. I do it, so I can speak on it. I will never understand why it's hard for me to get compliments from other people. But again, think about why they're saying that. What's his reason for saying that to you? Probably to empower you and keep you going.
Right. Wow. Somebody else says this is very helpful. It was a much needed discussion. Because like I said, the mental part of this is the largest part. The eating part is the easiest part. Once you learn, of course, y'all know I'm a little bit strict. So once you learn all those bad ingredients, staying on it is mostly mental. So we totally have to address these things. Do you guys have any other questions? And then we're gonna let LaNita finish up with again, reiterating to you guys where she is located and how you can contact with her. And I'll when we're done, I'm actually going to have her information in the description. So if you need help, make sure you have someone that you can reach out to. And like you said, because you've been on this side of it, it totally makes a difference. I honestly think it makes a difference the way I can communicate with everyone because I've been there and I understand. So I have empathy, but then I can be truthful and honest at the same time because what you feeling, I felt. So I totally understand.
Right.
Oh, and he says, thank God I can actually join you live, because one of the things he was complaining about is that he never got notifications when I went live on Facebook. But you got it because you subscribed to my YouTube channel. So again, if you want to make sure you get information every time we do sessions or post new information, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And just like Jamal or Big Boy 357, you'll get a notification. You won't miss any of these fabulous times that we're having and discussing great information when it comes to keto. Okay. So we're going to let LaNita tell us again. So give us a closing statement and tell us where she can be found.
Yes. So I would like to say to everyone, be your biggest fan. Keep going. Keep working on being healthy. I'm in the fight with you. If you do need me, you can reach me at carolinaassessmentservices@gmail.com. Whole lot of words, but Keisha says she'll put it in the comment box. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. It's LaNita.Jefferson_therapist. I am LaNita Jefferson on Facebook. We're located downtown off of Bellevue. So my address is 1105 Bellevue. Like I said, we're right behind Sweet Temptations and Curiosity Coffee Bar. I'm also going to give you my phone number. You can reach me there. So it's 803-291. I have to look down because I don't even know it. That's bad. 4924. So 803-291-4924. You can also find me on therapyforblackgirls.com, Psychology Today, or try to find me through Keisha's information. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate you all today.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it straight from her. Again, we will put the information in the description. Give me a few minutes and I'll add it in. And you can always go there. We want to make sure that you guys have everything you need in order to be successful and healthy. And that includes your mental health. So that's very important. So if you're having issues, please reach out to LaNita. You know, I'm great with listening, but that's LaNita's profession. So she can really help you with that, because y'all know I can be a little bit strict, and I'm great with your food choices. So that's what I'm good at. I'm good with small things when it comes to weight loss, but sometimes we need a professional to help us. And if that is you and you're having these issues, then make sure you reach out to LaNita's team and they can help you. And like I said, she's on keto herself, so she understands the lifestyle that you're on, so she can really help. You guys are welcome. Make sure you join us next Wednesday. So I will tell you guys what we will be doing next Wednesday. This was the perfect setup for us with our session on next week. So now we've learned we've learned things to help us identify with phantom fat, and learning how self-love can help get us past that and accepting the way we are. So now that we've accepted that, hey, we probably need to buy some other clothes because the things we're buying aren't fitting, and because we're trying to dress what our mind sees instead of what our bodies actually are. And so next week we will have Miss Karen from Atlanta. She's actually stylist to some stars. She will be joining us here on YouTube and telling us, how do we dress our new bodies? Because even there's a mental side to that we go through, that we don't know how to dress our bodies because we were used to dressing how we looked formerly. But now this needs to come full circle, and we need to learn how to accept that we've made changes, accept that we've lost weight, accept and learn how to love ourselves. And we need to learn how to dress our new bodies. So we will be back, and we will see you guys on next week. Same time, same place. And again, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share with your family and friends, and we love you guys. Y'all have a great and awesome afternoon, okay? Bye-bye.